Welcome to the Black Gentlemen's Club, where we have candid conversations about challenges that black men face and how we overcome them. This club is a place for us as men to congregate and share our thoughts, emotions, and failures and success. Right now, what I want you to do is subscribe, follow, share this podcast on all platforms with your friends, sons, fathers, dads, uncles, granddads, whoever, anybody you know that's a male that might need this help. Please subscribe and share this with them. All right. So first, we'll introduce our host today. So we have Matt.
What's happening?
We have my man Loki.
Back again. What's up, y'all?
Yeah, then you have me, myself, Cordero. All right, so look, for us to become men, we are striving to be. We must acknowledge and address that the obstacles that are preventing us from achieving that desired state. So today's episode, we're gonna be talking about bridging the gap, the disconnect between men and women.
I think that's major.
So what we're gonna do is this: we're gonna have a recap about the follow up about what we talked about last week. Was it last week? Maybe the week before. I don't know. I can't remember. But the last episode, we're gonna talk about that last episode as far as about setting the tone.
Jeez, that was a heavy one, bro. That was heavy. Setting the tone. So we gave y'all homework starting off, right? Setting the tone. We told you we was gonna do it. Anything we put on the show, we're gonna make sure that if we asking it of you, we're gonna do it ourselves. So the first thing we wanted y'all to do was check a book we called Battle Cry: Waging and Winning the War Within by Jason Wilson. So on social media or wherever you're at, just like comment, put a like up if you actually got to read some of that book, and did you share it with any of your male figures in the community with you. So definitely comment and let us know if you got a hold of that book and was able to share it. And for our gentlemen's club, have any of you guys had time to get into it as well?
Yeah. So for me, I read the book. I read the book. The book is actually really good. If you haven't read the book either, you can also follow him on YouTube. The guy Jason Wilson. You can follow him on YouTube. But I read it, but I also shared it with a couple of my soldiers. I gave it to them for them to read because I want them to be better, just like I'm trying to be. So I gave that to them to actually check out. When my son get a little older, I'm gonna have him read it too. But right now, he's not able to comprehend that piece. So I'm gonna wait till he get a little older and have him read that.
What's it ranking your book lineup? Like, is this one of these must-read Malcolm X type books, or how do you stack it against the rest?
It's hard, man. I don't really. I put them in categories. So for me, like for me, that one right there was a really beneficial book when it comes down to being self-aware. So I'll take that one. I'll read that one first. If I'm like a young man that's trying to figure things out, I'll read that one first to kind of understand that self-awareness piece, to know who you are and how to like not let things affect you as much, because you don't control those things. You can control only you.
True. And so speaking of like self-awareness, our host Mac, he was taking time to make sure his relationship and his tone and setting at his house was good. So that's why he wasn't with us last week. But I think it happens in a whole bunch of different ways. But even with that, how were you able to set the tone in your household? Did it change with you taking some time out to spend with your partner?
Honestly, yeah, it definitely took time out because it's all about the balance that you're trying to achieve. So for me personally, setting the tone with my family was showing them something different. You know, literally, I'm gonna show you something that you can achieve if you want to, but it's always there. So I guess just having a time with the family and being able to not stress about money, but also have time to just do whatever we want as a family. Like I thought that was good for them to see, and everybody need a break here and there. So you got to have a fun work type of balance. So
Oh yeah.
that's how I set the tone this time. It was straight though.
All right.
Real good.
So we're gonna go hit a little deep dive real quick. So we're talking about bridging the gap, the disconnect between men and women. So one thing when I went to go check out was about the definition of relationships, because relationships is the center and the core of it's kind of what we're talking about a little bit, but it's not only relationships. But when I say that, I'm not just talking about dating or marriage. I'm talking about also between your friends or whoever. So the word relationship, right? It's a Latin word. The root of it, relations, is a Latin term from the 1300s that means connection or correspondence. It's a noun. However, the root word, the suffix, not the root word, but the suffix of it, ship, is an Old English word. It has two. One is an Old English, the other part is a Proto-Germanic. So the Old English one is quality or condition, act, power, or skill. But the proto-Germanic one is one we use now, which means the state or condition of being. So when you put it together, relationship is pretty much the connection and that condition of that being or the condition of that connection, if you understand what it means. So that's what that word relationship actually means. And I think a lot of people get that twisted. How do you feel
Mm.
about that?
Are you asking me or Loki or
Well,
is
whoever,
everybody?
whichever one of y'all.
No, I think I mean it makes sense. I mean generally that is what relationship is. It's the connection that you build, the energy that you bring, and how it corresponds with everybody else around you and the people you're dealing with. So you definitely got to have a solid connection, and in time it becomes stronger. Or weaker depending on what happens with you and that person. However you correspond. Sometimes it ain't always good energy.
Yeah. What you feel about that, Loki?
So to build connection, I think it's all about communication, which is what we've been learning about a lot. Uh, I think the communication part is the biggest part that I've learned about relationship.
Yeah, that's a
Simply
major
because
piece.
everybody could want the same thing, but not know how, as a team, we're getting to that destination. So a lot of times we be working double and actually working against our partners to get to the same goal. So
Oh,
Boy,
communication
what?
is
what
huge.
he said. So
What?
we're gonna dive into that in a minute. What you said,
Yeah.
that's gonna come up in a minute. So when I was doing some more research, I read this article. Actually, it's a research paper from this dude named Charles Johnson. Not Charles, but Christopher Johnson. Sorry, correction. He did a study for the University of South Carolina about he says Words of Love portrayals of African American romantic relationships is the study he did. It was in
Mhm,
2012. However, he had a part in there that says the media has the power to create depictions of people and situations that are interpretations of the real world. These images carry with them messages that sometimes modify or exaggerate reality and therefore create beliefs that can have a tremendous impact on people's perception of the world and those in it. Consequently, some groups are given unfair representations. So when he said that, it made me think about how social media and how a lot of things have been kind of like I said, changing the like you said the perception or the way that we see certain things, especially
mhm,
with men and how a lot of women are now being showing their bodies, um, talking more, hypersexualized, which is, I ain't saying that you can't, because you have the right to do
mhm.
what you want to do with your body, but you can't determine the type of reaction that you get back
Yeah.
from what you're putting out. And so,
Mhm,
that's what that kind of made me think of. And it kind of puts a bad light on us as people to a certain extent.
mhm,
And it makes sometimes the men might feel intimidated or might feel like they cannot go and just, approach these women, or they
mhm.
cannot try to lead these women or even lead our own families.
Mm, that's
So
real.
I like referencing back, and fellas, make sure you check the chat for the additional notes. But I think I want to make sure we reference the title of this episode of Bridging the Gap. So
Hmm.
I think it's important to realize that to bridge the gap, we already created separation, or it was created for us. And we just got to remember where that root of the separation started, which might have been, 400 years back, or it could just be this new, I guess, woke shift that's happening where a lot of things that our community has asked for is occurring, but we don't know the repercussions of it. So, like that article is saying, just the switch of women being in the workplace in a different role,
Hmm.
even their presence in the household is different. A lot of times, this is the first time in our generation, or in from what I know, America, that the roles are starting to switch like this. So we're kind of the test dummies for this whole era.
That's real. That's real. But
So,
you know what?
how do
Oh,
you
go
feel
ahead.
about the statement, Mac? And then what do you like? What can we do to change the narratives? That narrative as black men. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, bro, uh, I personally feel like people are too judgmental in the first place.
Okay.
We so critical about everything that's going on in the world and what's happening and how it happens. Is like some of the stuff we don't even notice that like we're the cause of
Hmm.
certain problems. So, um, it's so easy to get what the media says as the whole picture and think that that's it.
Yeah.
But then there's so much more you got to look at. In other words, all I'm trying to say is that there's a lot more to look at than when somebody tells you one thing. I live by actions. I live by seeing the people that are genuine in my life, and working with them and dealing with them, and even those that are not genuine. So it allows me to kind of, understand the shift, because I've seen women that should be in major power seats that aren't, but
Hmm.
they have great like interpersonal skills and stuff like this. They do stuff better than we do, but like sometimes it's just not the opportunity. You don't know what their circumstances were. It's just so much about it. So me personally, I welcome the shift because yeah, we are test dummies, but in this world, in this life, we're test dummies every day. Like real talk. But
Yeah.
it's a part of the process, and that's growth, and that's what we're learning, that's what we're seeing. So we just have to kind of mold and go grow with it, be adaptable.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's some things that I was looking at. One thing that kind of made me think about it was like wants and needs, because in his article he also had like a chart that he made that kind of depicts the characteristics of a healthy romantic relationship. So I don't want to go
Hmm.
into that chart yet, but however, I'm going to bring it up in a minute. But the wants and needs. So I think the values are what people value in relationships or marriage, or within, or even within their own. If you're dating, whatever, our friendships could be different. What are some things that you think that as men that we value, or that you value as a man for your relationship? Yes.
Uh, for my relationship, I value honestly, loyalty, and true communication. Like real talk. I can. It's so much in this world that I cannot control, and I can't control another person.
Hmm.
I can't control what you feel and how you feel. So honestly, be honest with me and talk to me and communicate and let me know what you feel. That makes it so much easier for me to be loyal to you, and for me to expect you to be loyal back. But even then, I don't expect that from too many people. But loyalty is definitely one of those that if you get, you got to hold on to,
But what is loyalty
because
though?
loyalty is hard to find. Loyalty, honestly, is somebody that's just that is gonna be there through thick and thin. They're not gonna be there to save your ass and get you out of jail when you do stupid shit all the time. They're gonna be somebody that's gonna be there to tell you the truth, keep it 100 with you, and ride with you no matter what you go through. But they're gonna be honest about the situation and let you know you fucked up. You got to do this. I can help you, but you got to figure this out.
Yeah, I
You know?
think a lot of people get that word messed up. The word
Yeah.
loyalty. I think they want you to be loyal to them and not you actually how can I say it, not being loyal to the situation or the
Yeah.
relationship,
Yeah.
because being loyal to a relationship is different than somebody being loyal to you, because the
Hmm.
whole denominator is that relationship, is what you all have together. So if you're trying to be loyal to just that person, it makes no sense, because you're gonna be a yes man. You're gonna always
Mm.
try to do things to please them versus do things that can either help
Forgive,
them or
forgive.
guide them. Because not everybody needs to be pleased, but sometimes we need direction, because we all mess up, we all make mistakes. We all
Facts.
so that part of loyalty. I think when people say loyalty, it's a very
Hmm.
thin line of what that
I think it's
means.
that thing with that blood and water type of deal. You know how
Yeah.
they say family, like you can't choose family, but family will screw you over. So let's just be real. But like, it's more about the connection, the relationship that you build with somebody that helps empower that loyalty that you have. But
What
I'll leave
about
that
you,
alone.
Loki? What is it that you value for your marriage or for your relationship?
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off your last topic you was just on. I
Hmm.
think you could be loyal to a fault, but you got to know where the road ends. Like, 'cause a lot of people loyal that's not getting out of prison. A lot of people loyal that's dead and is
Hmm.
just getting kickbacks to their family, but they're not here no more. So even relationship wise, you got to still use your mind. Like, be logical about your loyalty. And
Hmm. No
I think
blind loyalty.
even bigger, like I said, back to communication. You got to be able to communicate your loyalty and how it looks to your partner, so they don't think you disrespecting them. They don't think that you being shady. It's just like you got to protect the castle, and sometimes it don't look the same way for your partner. But um,
Mm.
I
so
like
for
that.
me, I think values, man. And honestly, this is huge because even we've had behind the scenes conversations for years now as a group. I think my values have changed in a
Mm.
sense because some things I never even knew were valuable to me. But
Ooh, that's
um,
Hey,
powerful.
shit,
That's
man.
powerful.
Hey, you said it, man. I know what you're going through,
no, that's
because I
real,
went through the same
Mhm.
real
thing.
talk.
because sometimes you value respect a lot. Like me, I value respect,
Mhm.
but sometimes
Oh yeah, that's one
certain
of mine.
values can always go above the other. Sometimes, like for me,
Mhm.
respect is a big one for me. But at the same time, because the reason why respect is a big one for me, because I'm going to respect you too, which means I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be open, I'm going to be transparent. But at the same time, I'm going to also not try to do anything that can diminish you.
Mhm.
So, and even when it comes down to roles in the household, um, with roles in the household, because outside the house, we're our own person outside the house, but inside the house, there's an order because we're an organization, we're an organism. So there is a structure, and there
Mhm.
is an order inside this house, because without it, there'll be chaos. Not saying that my partner is less than me, nothing like that. We're keyword partners.
Mhm.
My spouse is my partner, so we're
Mhm.
equal. We're 100 100. We put in 100 100, because my
Mhm.
strength sometimes is her weakness, just like her weaknesses or her strength sometimes is my weakness. So
Mhm.
we balance each other out. It's never one is better than the other. So for me, the
Yeah.
value piece for me is growth and respect. For me, it's always growth and respect and just being open. you know
Mhm.
the communication piece. If you're not talking to me, not saying anything to me, then how do I know what's wrong or what needs to be fixed?
Mhm.
You're assuming that things need to be done, and you think that I know because I'm watching. I might be watching, but
Mhm.
I'm not that attentive to where I know every little detail of what you need done.
Mhm.
Just like
I
if I'm
seen a
looking at you
post
like, yo,
about that.
you said what?
I seen a post about that. I think I shared it recently to the group, and this is a speaker, a woman was saying that we have to stop assuming that our partners can read our minds, and because even like I said, for me, coming into a relationship years ago, I had a whole lot of different expectations and wants and needs, and now it really has shifted. So if I'm expecting my partner to read my mind, she's gonna act off of what she previously knew,
Correct.
and I think
Mhm.
that goes with tasks like chores, that goes with financial goals, whatever spiritual goals. And I think for me, I need growth, like a growth factor for my relationship to work.
Mhm.
Um, I need, I think, communication, honesty. I think really the biggest thing is I just want somebody's gonna keep trying.
Mm-hmm.
Like as long as you
Facts.
want to keep
Facts.
working,
Being resilient.
then and sometimes that helps me when I get down. I'm like, man, I'm throwing in the towel. If I see my partner, like, man, come on, like, yeah, it's tough, but we gonna get
Mhm.
through it. So now I'm back.
Yep. That's,
But
that's, that's
I
what I'm
think that's a
saying.
big thing for me.
That's exactly what I'm
But
saying
see,
about being
Um,
mhm.
that being that balance, being that strength to my weakness, or my weak, or I'm your strength to your weakness. Having that knowing that, because like I know my wife, like she's not outspoken like I am. She's the
Mhm.
total opposite of me. But then
Mhm.
it's things that she see or things that she do that I just appreciate, because that's who she is, and I don't take it for granted. I'm very grateful. I don't take any of that for granted, because if I did, then it would diminish who she is, which then would
Mm.
then for me would then make me look at her totally different.
Mm.
Which
That'll
then
diminish who you are too.
it would diminish me, because it also diminish our household,
Mhm.
because now our house is in
Mm.
you know what
chaos.
else? You know what else is real? I've been thinking about like a lot. I think the past maybe 10 years, we messed ourselves up a lot because we make ourselves like everybody's like you a Captain Save a Hoe or you a duck for doing something. But I think it is true if you're doing that just for any woman. But for some reason, that's been implanted in our minds that we done made it almost even for our wives or our significant other. We don't
Mhm.
save them no more. Like we don't. I think that's why women have been like changing the roles and the dynamic because they're like, well, these dudes ain't standing up for me. They ain't gonna speak and vouch for me and protect me. So I'm gonna protect myself. So I
Mhm.
think it's important for us to start shifting that back to if that's yours and that's who you claim, and it could be little things, but
Mhm.
just the fact that they know it could be a family member that's speaking on their name out of line, and you like, yo, yo,
Yeah,
yo,
you gotta jump in
she's
there
doing
and
her
correct
thing.
that.
You
Hey,
don't need to speak on that, and I think those little things like that is what starts putting that. You say you want respect, you say you want all this stuff that comes with being a leader and a man, but are you doing these little things, these little
mm.
actions throughout the week and day?
Whew.
Yo.
Message.
Yeah.
What you said, man. Like I'm being honest. Like that's the reason why I like the whole thing about the roles and responsibility in the house. So they talk about
Mhm.
traditionalism as well as modernism. It's a big issue going on now with people talking about, well, mainly a majority of the women right now wanting to be more modern and have be the ones leading the family. Not saying there's anything
Yeah.
wrong with that. However, can you bear that responsibility?
Mm.
Is the question.
See,
It's
Mm.
heavy now.
But you,
I'm not saying that women cannot.
hmm
I'm just saying, can you better responsibility? Because once again, I was raised in single parent household. My mom, she had to better responsibility. She didn't want to, but she had to,
hmm
Hmm.
and she was still searching for a husband.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Then when she finally got married, she let him do that,
hmm
and she relied on more of nurturing and doing the other stuff. So, you know, but once again, because that's my mom was from the old school, from when she, they had a lot of two parent households. They wanted to be close together because due to segregation, due to the racism, they was more close knit compared to how we are now. More of us are more separated than we are close knit because we have this so called freedom to choose certain things that we tend to separate from our own and not hold some of those values of being a family and having that dynamic. You know,
Thanks. Hey, look, I'm sorry. We don't
go ahead.
spoke on so much, bro. There's so many notes that I just want to be like, I gotta get this one, gotta get
Do
this
your
one.
thing,
but
man.
like, but like, I want to speak on one thing that this is. It's always a yin and yang, right? It's always a balance, right? And and I feel like you said something earlier about 100% and 100%, and both giving 100%. And what I don't think people understand is that even though both are giving 100%, it's an overall total that you're still trying to get to. It's like an average,
Hmm.
right? But sometimes my 100% is only gonna get us 70% of that average, and then her 30% might get us the other, to get us to that 100%. And sometimes it's gonna switch, and that's where we got to understand. It's about a team effort. It's not
Yep.
about can you be a one man army and support your whole family, because yes, anybody could do it if they were determined enough to make it happen and they had somebody they doing it for. But the reality behind it is you got to work together.
Correct.
So you got to work together, and that's just what it is. Stop judging each other. Stop miscommunicating. If you ain't working together, you just making it worse. But where are we
Yeah. So,
at? I'm at.
well,
No.
so I was talking about the traditional piece, right? So with the
Okay.
traditional piece for me, being a Christian, in my household is, it's God first, and then after God, is husband, wife, children. However, it's not saying that my wife is below me or my children is below me, but my children are definitely not equal to me and my wife because they do not know.
Mm-hmm.
However, in there it says that I must love my wife like Christ loved the church. So, which means I must love her, also guide her in the right direction too, and help her and teach her. But how can I do that if I don't know? That's the
Gotcha.
reason why we're doing these types of podcasts. We're going to be talking about these things because we all have been misguided and we all do not know, you know, how to lead or how to be that husband for our wives or for our partners. So for me, it's back to reading, getting the information, gaining that knowledge, and now being able to apply it, which is now wisdom. And understanding, being able to apply that knowledge is that wisdom and understanding. So now that I'm learning and I'm reading it, and I'm trying to now not be as selfish because I don't want to be the selfish person. I want to be the selfless person and be able to give, 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 give. Because if I'm giving and she's giving, then everybody's happy. So I'm trying to
Facts.
give,
So
give, give.
you say you acting more in a modern or traditional way now,
Now it's still
from what you're
traditional,
saying.
if according to biblical sense, it's still traditional. But if you're going off
Mm-hmm.
of like 1700s, 1800s, early 1900s, that tradition is a little bit different. That's more of a misogynistic viewpoint to where women are not able to do anything. You're not
I
entitled to
got you.
to work. You have no say in anything in this house. I don't even really care about your opinion. You know,
Okay,
Mm.
I got you. I
and
got
and,
you. I
and
got
that's
you.
and that's not what it's meant to be like. Like it's like having an advisor to a company, to a CEO. Every CEO does
Yeah.
they're the face of the business, which means they bear the responsibility of the failures and the success. However, they do have advisors. They do have a board.
Facts.
Yeah.
So my wife is that
Everybody
my
does.
wife
Yeah.
is that person too because if somebody come in this house and start trying to rob us, who they gonna be in the front? My ass.
Facts. Facts. Facts.
Should be. I
She's not
mean,
gonna jump up there and be like, oh, it's me. No, I'm gonna be the one that's she gonna look at me like, hey, what we doing? You
Yeah.
know what I'm
yo,
saying?
so I wanna kind of look at something too. So I feel like what we're doing right now is pretty important. It's kind of like we're gonna rewrite the blueprint for what the standard is for like being, at least in our perspective, the leader of the house,
Hmm.
the head of the house. I think really the first thing I want to do is categorize the people, the listeners, like because this might not be for everybody. If you're listening and this just don't sound right, then maybe you need to find your own lane. It's not the only way, but
Hmm.
just thinking about it, what like if I was to describe 2022, 2023, 2024 going forward, what does it look like? Like what is what you would consider the first thing that a household leader is going to do? Like, are you
All right.
opening doors for your wife still? Are you cooking, cleaning, making the bed? You know, how do you show affection to your kids? Like, what is a kind of structure that you think? Let's do like maybe one or two things each
All
to
right.
to what you think that we would be doing.
So me first, if my thing is figuring out what makes the team work, because th- I think this is just a generalized, like it captures everything. Because if I know what my wife is doing and what she's good at, then I know what things she's probably not good at that I could help with, and I just fill in the spaces. All right. So that's me just figuring out teamwork. But the next thing is making sure that I bring something to the table to provide first. Now, I mean, it could be money, it could be emotion, it could be whatever. But me personally, I'm trying to bring the whole package. So I want to make sure I provide in some facet of the way, and meet her halfway. I ain't trying to do everything by myself because by all means that's just stupid. So if you don't have to, but that's what I would do.
All right.
What about
So
you?
so for me, the first thing first for me is like you said, sit down with my wife. But the first thing we're gonna do is discuss our vision going
Hmm.
forward for our family. We always do this. We do a vision board typically yearly. We all four of us, me, my wife, and my two kids, we do that. So we can, know what each everybody's trying to accomplish and then what our end goal is. We even have a 5-year plan as far as to figure out, hey, where do we want to be in the next 5 years and then how we can get there, because then only there can we drive the family to that direction.
Hmm.
But now we have that and we in agreement, because now me and her are in agreement of this. Then I have to step up and take charge and do the things that need to be done to make sure that
Hmm.
that happens. And what she does is also she manages pretty much. She helps with getting the kids situated. We flip flop back and forth, but the kids will go to her before they come to me for a lot of things, because once again she's the nurturer, so they'll go to her before they come to me. So us communicating about the issues or things that's going on in our daily routines, because when she's lacking, I got to step up. Just like when I'm lacking, she steps up. So
Hmm.
that's the thing that we do. That's the two things that I think going forward for us that we typically do.
That's dope. So I think for me, off the top, because I think a lot of us skip through it in the dating phase. First, I would try and identify my flaws and weaknesses, like where I need help. So that therapy side, I would want to do that first.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
and then number two, I'll probably do. You kind of took mine with the goal, like because we even as humans and partners, we got different goals. Like I might not need a
Facts.
$100 million mansion.
Yeah.
I could be cool with the one, So the goals will help us direct. I think that's a huge piece actually because it kind of lets you know where you're gonna fit in. So if your partner wants to keep going, you can a make it happen for that person, or you're gonna be taking the back seat as she keeps or he keeps achieving that goal. So I don't know. I'm pretty modern where I don't mind. My wife don't got to cook for me every day.
Nah, she
She
ain't
don't
got to
have to
do none
fold
of
my.
that.
Mm.
I'm cool with sharing the chores. I'm cool. Definitely, I think more men should be excited to be in the kid's life. It shouldn't be just a woman thing anymore.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't think like I said, it's a bad thing either way. I think certain things are. I don't think chores are gender specific, or gender specific. I don't think
not
certain
no
duties are
more.
gender specific when it comes down to what can be done now. 'Cause like me, I cook more than my wife. I'm
Hmm.
like she tell you when I cook,
But is
it's
it?
hey that shit.
Yeah,
Y'all seen
but
some?
that's a good one.
What's up?
That's a good example, bro. I'm sorry.
No, go
I
ahead. Do you
apologize.
think?
That's a good example. No, it's a great example because it's not specific, like you're saying, but like that's not a traditional role for a man.
Right.
Yeah, it's,
You see
it's
what I'm
It
definitely
really
saying?
not.
isn't.
Yeah, Yeah, because like,
unless you grilling.
oh yeah, I get
Yeah,
the
unless
grill,
you grill.
but hey, but when I'm
That's
in the
it.
kitchen, it's a different ball game too. It's hey,
Facts.
it's Chef
Out there
Homeboy
tearing.
RD. I'm out there chopping it up. Cutting up
Yeah.
tomatoes, fruit and vegetables, and potatoes. You know, you know what
He
I'm
got
saying?
a song.
That's R. Kelly joint right there. But I'm
Oh
saying
my
that's why I
god.
cut it
Okay.
up. But one thing I've been noticing too is I think for us to address the youth, the people that's listening, and those younger than us, is when they're dating. Because when
Hmm.
they're dating, this is the prime time to get to know the person. You don't have to rush to sleep with them. You ain't got to rush to rush anything. Take your time, even for the women. If you're any women listening, make sure you're taking your time and doing your due diligence. Just because somebody's having something that you may not like, is can you tolerate that over a period of time? Because it's something about you that other person might not like.
Hmm.
you know uh, just having that understanding of, like, if anything, get understanding of each other, get a chance to get to
Hmm.
know and understand each other, what makes somebody tick. You ain't got to move in with the person, you ain't got to do none of that. Just get to know them, take them on dates. There's nothing wrong with going on dates. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with just going meet up for happy hour, whatever. Have a good time, but just make sure you're actually communicating and talking about things that's worth something that you really want to do for the future, versus talking about, well, what kind of car you drive, or where do you work at. It's cool, you can find out where they work at, but
Hmm.
all that superficial shit don't mean nothing
You
if
sound like.
it don't mean shit. Superficial shit don't
Yeah.
mean anything. You gotta know what the person morals, values, ethics are.
Hmm.
Yeah. On top of that, though, I just heard a pretty decent little podcast where they say you got to separate the past, the present, and then the future. Because a lot of times we use the future for potential of what our partner can accumulate to. Then the past is stuff that we cannot change, but we still hold over on. So
Oh,
it's like, can you look at your partner and accept everything they are right now, regardless of where they at?
What
So
he
just
said.
starting to practice that, and then also start practicing forgiveness. Like my wife's
what you
been
said?
saying a lot of words that have a forgiving tone to it, and that it makes me want to start learning how to do it more. Like she's okay with not being right all the time, and it's amazing to feel that. Because like, although it's not about just being right or wrong, but it's like a person's big enough to say like, "Yo, I'm sorry, I could have did better X, Y, and Z." So now I'm like, damn, could I did better? Could you know what I'm saying? Like maybe
Yeah,
I could have looked into something a little bit more. So practice practice forgiveness and
yeah, being
speaking it,
vulnerable.
vocalizing it. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I want to say something off of it, but bro, that's it. Like forgiveness is the key. Like I'm telling you, and people got to remember, it ain't for you. It ain't for them. It's for you. Like it allows you to move forward. If you can forgive anybody and accept everybody for who they are,
hmm
I think you'll be better in life yourself.
so since we're talking about that, right, I'm going to go back
Hmm.
to that chart. So the chart that the guy did, right,
Okay.
he has some things about healthy communications, or not healthy communication, but healthy relationships, some characteristics. So one of the first ones he had was honesty and accountability. It says characters accept responsibility for themselves. They do not make excuses for their partners or for their own actions. The other one he had was open communication. It talked about characters expresses their feelings or opinions. He or she also says what they mean. Communication is based on clarifying issues, specific feelings, and working together for mutually satisfying solutions. If one
Mm.
partner does something that hurts the other in a way,
Teamwork.
they feel free to talk about it. Keyword, like he said, teamwork. We had another one about negotiations and fairness. It says characters seek mutually satisfying resolutions to conflict. They are willing to find solutions that are agreeable to both people. Both characters acknowledge that their wants and needs are just as valid as the others. When differences come up, the characters try to see the situation from their partner's point of view and tries to work them out together. They had another one about shared responsibility. I'm not going to read every one of them. Then he had respect, trust and support, intimacy, and then physical affection.
Yeah.
Those are some of the characteristics of a healthy relationship, though. But in there, for example, one of them with intimacy, it says character respects their partner's boundaries and privacy.
Mm. Mm.
Everybody
Things
has
be hard
boundaries.
sometimes.
Sometimes people,
Yeah.
everybody has privacy. Like some things, like I said, I can't talk to my wife about it. I can talk to you all about,
Hmm.
because she might get offended or she might feel some way about it, because it makes her feel like she's not doing when she is
Hmm.
doing, but might be not doing enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Nah, that's
so
real.
it's things I might talk to y'all about to make sure that you know y'all might check me, be like, nah, bro, she's good. She doing what she needs to
Mm-hmm.
do. Maybe you looking at it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so you need to have people that you can talk to, whether or not it's in a, you know, your partners in an intimate way or your friends in an intimate way.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm.
what do y'all think about that?
Lucky you on next.
Man. Yeah, yeah. And once again, we're gonna keep with the chat so we can keep adding our little points in there. But and also we're gonna also start working on trying to get these charts and stuff, maybe screenshot it or upload it to our social medias. So y'all can follow along because Mr.
Yeah, I would
Cordero
like to
be
see that.
dropping some gems. And I know sometimes y'all are visual learners and y'all not
Mhm.
gonna take notes on the verbal, but we'll try and get some visual points up there for you as well. But
Facts.
yeah, following up with what you were saying,
Mhm.
the
I can
space
take.
part's tough, man, because you gotta be a secure individual sometimes to understand that just because a person's asked for space or a specific way to be cared for doesn't mean that they do not want you. Doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
that they are diminishing their relationship. It's just you got to understand that sometimes, some flowers only need 3 hours of sunlight. If you give them all day sun, they're gonna die. You
What
feel
you
me?
said?
This man,
So you gotta really look at what your specific partner needs, so you're not suffocating them or maybe not giving them enough. So
Mm.
I'm learning that piece right now.
that man out here
Yo.
dropping them. You
God, he
dunking,
brought.
dunking, man. You dunking on people out here, man.
Like
Foul,
Kobe.
bodying,
Hey, come
dunking,
on, bro.
Kobe.
I see it. I see the
Oh
growth. The
man.
real talk, bro. I see the growth. That's respect. I ain't got nothing but respect for you. But on some real shit,
Hmm.
um, I think it just goes back to respecting your partner, respecting her just like she's a person, just like you're a person, just like you want respect. And honestly, we have to understand that compromise come with that in a marriage because anytime you bring two people together, there's gonna be conflict, but there can be compromise with respect. And
Yes.
like when I'm saying like I ain't gonna lie, this came from and I keep it short, but like this came from me learning how to be a leader in the military, learning how to be a platoon sergeant that had never done it before with like 46 soldiers. And when I tell you it's like herding kids and cattle at the same damn time, it's ridiculous. But it teaches you something because you learn to respect all these grown adults and literally guide them as if they were your kids, but also treating them as if they're your peers
Hmm.
in subordinate. Like it's crazy. It's like a balance that you gain, but it's really based off of respect. And when you learn to take that home, that's one thing I would say take home from work with you because you learn to respect your family the same way your kids are people, your wife is a person. Like it helps with the cohesion. But you still got to be the top, if it come down to it.
I remember we had a conversation the other day about trust. Remember that?
Mm,
So I think some of this also dealing. Some of the reason for this gap is trust.
absolutely.
And I say that because I've experienced that myself. I know other people probably have too as well, but I had an insecurity issue because of trust
Mm,
before I got married, and that insecurity issue was because you know how you feel like there's always competition, right?
mm-hmm.
But you feeling like, okay, well, maybe they with this person, they with that person because they're not hitting you back, they're not doing this and that. You know, you're trying to figure out, hey, where you at, where you going, who you with.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes, like bro, you like you said, you can't control somebody, so you can only trust them until that trust is broken. And trust,
Mm-hmm.
when you say you trust somebody, means you have no doubt. There's no
Oh,
doubt,
Mm.
none.
You gotta be truthful with yourself on
There's
that, huh?
none. There's no doubt. Zero. Not
yeah,
not 0.001, but 0%. There's no doubt. But the thing with trust, though, I think trust is also earned. It's not just given right away. And
absolutely.
I
It
think
has
trust
to
is
be
earned
earned.
through the way we use loyalty, like you said with loyalty. That loyalty and that respect piece and that communication, then you begin to have that trust.
Mm-hmm.
And when people say, "Oh, I trust you," Ralph, I'm like, "Yo, you don't trust me, motherfucker. Like I know that. Like you can't tell me you trust me. I just met you. You don't trust me like that. I have to show you
Hmm.
that I'm trustworthy. You know, I
Facts.
have to show you
I like
that
looking
I'm
at
able
like
to do
credit,
that.
man.
Yo, it is credit. It is
Like,
like you said. It's really like
you
a
know,
credit score. You can overuse it.
for real.
You can underuse it. You can wind up dropping that shit. Like, your balance can be. You can get declined. Your trust can get declined too.
Facts.
Hmm. But
So
don't think you can't build it back up. That's what I've learned too. Like most people gonna mess up at some place, and it's gonna be a bad little situation for a little while. But you can build it back up. It's just gotta be consistent.
yeah, but I think with that
Consistent
trust
work.
piece, that support comes with it after a while. Because
Right, right,
now
right,
with
for sure.
whoever who's you dating, or your spouse or your wife, whatever, or your girlfriend, whoever
Okay.
you're dating, I think from that piece, once you build that trust, now that support comes in, and also that ability for them to let you lead,
You
Mm.
know what?
comes.
Facts. With that, that actually leads to the Black Gentlemen's Club book assignment for this week. So, all right. So here's the book. And this is the assignment. So read "Love and Respect" by Dr. Emerson Eggridge. Is that right? Eggridge. All right. Stay married. Oh, hold on. What's this? Okay, so it's two of them. It's two of them. Y'all caught me off guard. All right. Stay Married, a couple's devotional by Michelle Patterson. All right. So again, there's love
Who's
and
supposed to read
respect.
this book? Who's reading this book?
Huh? Who's
What's our
everybody supposed to
audience?
read it?
Who?
He
It's
said,
for
huh?
everybody, ain't it?
He said, huh?
It ain't for
Everybody supposed
everybody.
to read. No, it's for everybody, man. Everybody read that book. Check it out. I've actually had both of those books.
He's got all the books
No, I
actually.
have
Yeah,
I have
man.
both.
Of
I have
course you
literally
do.
both of those books. The Stay Married one is a blue. It's like a light blue book. Be honest with you, I got that too late. I wish I had that book early on in my relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Okay.
got that book too late. I got that book 2 years ago.
Mm.
Okay.
I'm
So
now married for
can
11 years. I got that book 2 years ago.
can you give me a what it's about?
Mm.
Just a brief one, like real
So
brief.
it goes into before you even say I do.
Okay.
So when you're actually dating, it talks about the dating phases, how to actually communicate, and what you need to talk about with your partner or your whoever you're dating, right? But the thing
Mm-hmm.
with the book is that it's supposed to be done together with whoever you're with,
Got you.
and it's
Okay.
like a daily thing you do, so you can go through it daily. It has like assignments in there for you to be able to do as well. It's actually a really good.
Okay.
It's a really great book. And then Love and
So you
Respect.
suggest
Hmm?
oh my bad, go ahead.
You said what now?
So you suggest that they read it together with their spouse, girlfriend, or partner. All right. You recommend them reading the opposite gender point of view of love and respect. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, man. I
Okay.
would I would do that because I know with us we read Love and Respect. I read it from the wife's point of view. When she like they have like
Hmm.
it kind of like gives both sides.
Okay.
So we read
I
that
like that.
like from the wife's point of view, and then my wife she read it from the husband's point of view, the guy that wrote the book.
Hmm.
So it
That's
kind of
dope.
gives
Okay.
That's
you.
dope.
It made me realize certain things like maybe I could do this instead. This is probably how she's feeling. You know.
Okay.
And for y'all
I
to think
got
that's
that.
too much, it ain't too much. Cause y'all can spend a whole 12 hours on Netflix watching seasons. Put a little work
Bridgerton,
into
Facts.
yourself, man.
Bridgerton,
You know what I'm saying? For real.
Lady Whistledown.
I,
Hey
I do
man.
watch my seasons too, but it's just with balance. That's what we've been saying all episode is balance. So take a couple, hour maybe a day, just read a chapter or two
Yeah. I
and
say read
improve
it
your
every
whole life.
bedtime. Like you said, read it at bedtime or before you about to go to sleep so you can have a discussion with your spouse or your girlfriend or your husband, boyfriend, whoever you with. Just,
Yeah.
Big facts.
read it with
Hey, I
them.
got a question for y'all
What's up?
because
Hmm.
I don't I know y'all already know I don't like reading. But like real talk, like real talk though. I had a conversation with somebody because they was like, it's essential. Like you gotta read.
Yeah, you have
And
to.
he's been giving me all these game and all these facts. So I know he's right, and I know y'all been right about it all along. But is it okay if I read one page a night? Is it okay to keep going
Well,
like that? Or is that
I'll
too
say,
slow?
like
Is
I
that
said, start with one page, but I guarantee you when you open this book, you're going to keep reading.
okay? So okay, I
Like,
respect.
no,
Respect.
I'm dead
Loki
serious,
was like,
bro.
I don't know about that
No,
one.
I'm serious. Like, like don't go past a chapter at a time, because bro, like you're gonna really read. You're gonna want to keep reading it,
Yeah.
especially if you're
Okay.
doing it with your wife or you
Hmm.
together.
That
Yeah,
can build a healthy discussion too between you and her.
no, it does. It helps with it because that's how I
Okay.
got. That's how I like kind of got a chance to see what my wife was going through. Or, how she felt.
Say
Man,
less.
look, here's why I think reading these books that we're going to recommend is so important. Because y'all want peace, right, in your house.
Hmm.
That's what most men want. That's most women want.
What you
Y'all want
said?
money. Y'all want money. Y'all want peace of mind, money. This is literally giving you a toolbox. Your tools is getting filled every time you read one of these type of books. Cause you learn it from a whole nother relationship and you able to apply that immediately. Like you don't gotta understand everything, but you can start applying stuff immediately. So for me, it's like if I never learn different things, then I can never apply it. I can
Mm-hmm.
never improve myself.
Yeah.
So I'm just pretty much saving myself headaches. I'm giving myself more free time because guess what? My house is good. Well, it's almost good, y'all. But the more I read, the more I structure myself,
Yeah.
improve, the
One
more I can just enjoy life.
one
But
thing I would
hey,
say is this,
go
man.
ahead.
Discuss and write down what you can do to add value to your relationship. You
Mm-hmm.
know, try
Hmm.
to understand your partner and and what may be their strengths and then how those strengths can probably either be your weakness. So I'll say write those
Okay.
things down.
Okay.
That's
Get a
major.
journal and get the books. Okay. Got you. Got you.
That's
No,
major.
that's
Hey,
real.
just hey, but you got to remember, even after all of this, nothing's perfect. You know, there's no such thing as perfection. Only God is perfection. So like, it's just know there's some give and take. All right.
Yeah, buddy.
So I gotta circle back then since nothing is perfect. Do you think it gets better dating outside of your race? Or do
Ooh.
you think staying in
I
your race
don't.
makes it
Yeah.
better?
My honest opinion, I don't think it's. I personally don't think it's one way or another. Cause I think you're gonna run into shit with no matter who you with. Like real talk. At some point in time, it's gonna be you're not gonna want to deal with, something you're not gonna like, something you're not gonna love. And honestly, I just think that means that person probably wasn't the one for you if it's that big for you. And it could
True.
be any race. Now we do have some stigmas that are bound to each race that typically show themselves pretty early in a relationship. But I think that goes back to what we've been saying with being genuine, communicating, and being honest and loyal. Like those things are, if you maintain those in any relationship, typically it's going to be reciprocated. But if it's not, that means that probably wasn't right for you. I got a
I
black
feel
wife,
that.
but I don't discriminate. All of them can get it. You feel me? I'm just being real. Like
I
just
heard.
be real. Y'all can get it. But this is where my heart is. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
You
if
know,
that makes any sense.
yeah, I see what you're saying. I think dating outside the race, it's okay. To me, it's okay. I don't really care either way, as long as you're happy.
Hmm.
As long as you're happy and you're also providing happiness for the person you're with, I have no issue with it. However, I would definitely love to see more, more black marriages, together. My wife, she's not full black; she's half black. She's black and a native, Alaskan native. So she's half and half. But
Oh, she black.
I mean, yeah, she's black, but yeah,
No.
still, just being honest, she's black and Alaskan native.
You know how it go. You
Yeah,
got
but
any part of black and you black. But
yeah,
go
pretty
ahead.
much. But I mean, I've dated girls. I've dated girls that was Peruvian, Italian, different types of nationalities and races. But now the thing that
What
I
that
have
be
is the
like?
different things I have
So
experienced.
you got exotic
No,
stuff, huh?
I have
Like
some
the
exotic
smooth.
things, but the things that I do wind up taking from it though is that culturally there are differences when it comes down
Mm-hmm.
to their value system in a relationship, because
Yep.
certain people are raised differently, or they look at their parents and they use their parents as the bar, or
Hmm.
their cultural norms as the bar. And I mean, when I was dating this Italian chick, I didn't even understand like why she was upset about me not telling her where I was going. Like, fuck, that supposed to be like, why I gotta tell you where I'm going for?
That's universal woman.
I mean, you'll think that, right? But it was more of
Mm-hmm.
to kind of control where I'm going. I'm like, nah, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want that. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's because of that's what her family was doing. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not used to stuff like that, so I don't see any issue with it. Like you said, if anybody's benefiting from it, if they're both mutually benefiting, then it is what it is, man. How do you feel about it,
Here
Loki?
go my take. Here go my take.
Oh, it's about to be hot.
This is just real rap. This is real rap, bro.
I want to hear this
I
shit.
want to hear it too about catching the 4K.
Nah, so check it out, man. How I see it, I think most of the, you know, relationships that are not same. Uh, let's see. We can't get banned, can we?
No, I'm
Nah,
trying to
you
be
good, man.
politically
Tell me what you
correct.
gotta
Get that shit
say.
out.
All right. So basically, I think it's mostly ego for most men,
Mm-hmm.
especially like black men. Like for instance, the biggest talk that comes up is if it's a black man with a white woman or a white woman with a black man. It's
Mm-hmm.
always a discussion point. But I feel
Absolutely.
like personally, I feel like if a black man is healed, which nobody that I know is completely healed and has been
Mm-hmm.
able to understand the whole makeup, the where we at, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think anybody can love a black woman as well as a black man.
Hey,
But
I'm with
because but because we do have so much building and healing to do. If another race can do it better at the moment,
Hmm.
I can't really fault because it's no telling when, as a community, everybody will be able to get to a place where we're just good. So like, I can't ask a woman or a person to wait their whole life for us to get right. So
Facts.
Hmm.
if if it's a white man that's like, yo, I got my shit together, I know how to treat you, I know how to love you, I know how to protect and provide. Ego wise, I'm like, hell no, you should be with one of us. But if it's like that's what
Hmm.
she need right now,
That's what she
it's like
needs.
that's what she need right now. So
You might not be it
uh
right now. You might not get our ass back.
Yeah, I mean, you might not get it back, but at the same time though, like I said before, I mean, she if she happy, she happy.
Hmm.
If like, because that's like I look at the black women as our sisters. So if our sisters happy, they happy.
Hmm.
If we ain't doing
yeah,
our job, doing our part, like Loki said, then what we mad about?
Yeah. I mean, for
yeah,
some sisters, it ain't even that deep. She just like that man, and that man treated her right. At
Facts.
the end of the day,
facts. Color was never even the.
and
Never the issue.
I'm telling
But
you,
in America, color is always a topic. Whether you want to look at it like whether you got your blinders on or not, it's always going to be a topic.
yeah,
Um,
man.
in America, at least, I don't know about the world, but
But
here it
it
is.
is a topic. But I hate that the narrative with black women, and black men is because the black men is too weak to handle a black woman.
No,
That's what I thought this was gonna lead into more because honestly, bro, that keeps happening. I see it happening where divorces are more frequent because a black woman is trying to be as strong as a black man and be better and do all of these things herself when really it's just working as a team. But at the same time, sometimes we are a little chumpers,
that's like
we
I
be
said
like,
before though. If you
mm-hmm,
playing on the team, you can't play the center's role. If you're the
nope,
fucking point guard, play your damn position. So that way the team can function how it's supposed to function. You can't win a
yeah,
championship with two people playing the same position. You just
mm-hmm,
can't.
you can't.
So
It got to be
like
teamwork, no
if
matter who
like
you
once
with.
again if we're not playing our position and playing our role and then they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then we're pulling apart, we're making a bigger gap than we are bridging that gap, you know
Facts.
until we
Yeah,
get
I
self-aware
see what you
and
did
take
there.
ownership and look at, hey, our accountability, this is why we're fucking up, this is what we need to do to fix this
Mm-hmm,
within not everybody else, but within ourselves. So each individual
mm-hmm,
person, what am I doing
mm-hmm,
wrong? What can I do to make this better? What did I learn from my last relationship? How can I improve
mm,
for the next one?
mm-hmm.
Because if you ain't improving, then what's the point? Why are you sitting here entertaining these chicks? But at the same time, women have more power than men when it comes down to anything because they have the vagina. We do everything for the vagina. They're not doing everything for the dick.
What if you were gay?
If you was gay, then shit, you doing everything for the dick and everything for the vagina. I don't. I mean, it's the same situation, but whoever
Yeah,
loves it
no, I
more,
got you.
you know.
You know what? I feel
man.
that. I feel that. I feel that.
So
Fellas,
if
y'all
they're
need to stop
entertaining,
lying, bro.
so what?
About what?
We just gotta stop lying on our resumes. Cause
True.
we be saying we over competent in a lot of areas, and I'm gonna provide and protect you. Motherfucker,
No,
you
you
ain't never
can't.
got a check yet.
My point is
You don't even
what you
you can't
said.
protect yourself.
What you
Yeah.
So I
said.
think that's a big part. Is we know what
Writing
to
checks we
say,
can't
but
cash.
I don't think we really just because we never been through that part of life, we don't really know that we can provide that check because we never even learned how to do it. And that's
Mm,
that's something that I think we got to step back from. Is just saying we can do all these things because a man never want to say he can't do it, but
yeah.
I think just being real with ourselves and like, yo, cause can I really love you how you want to be loved?
And if I
Probably
can't,
not.
can I
Not right
learn
now.
to?
Not saying that right, but that's got to be discussed like from the jump. Like, yo, I do want to learn to, because sometimes you don't even want to learn, but if you don't want to even break yourself down to be able to learn, then that should be like square one talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because if you're not
But
gonna
why
change,
you
it ain't
win
no point
this?
of really, ain't no
But
point.
what you said is perfect though, because the issue is a lot of people are gonna be scared to talk about it because of rejection and the fear of not being liked.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
if I'm a dude, I remember having this issue before of, like I said, I had trust issues, right? So I remember my girl was like, "Oh, do you have any problem with me doing this?" And I was like, "No, I don't have no problem with it." I'm not really that type of person where I get jealous. I was lying my ass off. Reason why I was lying my ass off because I was scared that if I told her that, then she was gonna just break
Uh-huh.
up with me. It was gonna be over. I ain't wasn't
Mm-hmm.
gonna ever get another chance. This is not,
Mm.
it was that. It
I,
was never like, yo, no, I am jealous. This is why I'm jealous. Let me address the pain.
mm-hmm.
You
But
know,
Oh yeah.
that's real. But I ain't gonna lie to you because and remember I told y'all a while back. If I say something, I'm trying to stick with it, and that's what I'm gonna do.
yeah,
Good, bad, ugly,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that means. I've been in that position, and And because I know I said it, and this relate to another situation, but because I know I said it, I make that my outcome. I would not allow myself at that point to be jealous, to be this or to be that. I would do my best in my power to find a way to get past that if possible. Now, hey, you ain't perfect, but
He said, now,
sometimes you be like, no, it wins. But in most situations, if you really scale it back and you look at the bigger picture, you don't need to be jealous. You
Yeah,
didn't. You didn't need to feel that way. You just gotta get past that hump first, and then you'll allow yourself to grow. But
yeah,
I can't. If I say it, I gotta stick with it. And I feel like in a relationship, if you start off with somebody, if you tell them, hey, this is ground zero, don't go below that. You gotta stick with it at that point. You gotta become this, and that. And if it wasn't good for you, you need to come up on the net and say something. Hey, I lied. I'm sorry. I fucked up. Okay, accept my responsibility and let's move forward. Let's fix it. Let's see if we can work out.
that
That's
part.
tough.
And also, I think what I've been learning right now is like if a woman is like a reflection or a mirror of ourselves, I
Mm.
think some of the things that we only attribute to them, like
Mending.
jealousy, how is it how they only got jealousy? We ain't got it coming from us if they showing it. How we ain't got insecurities if they showing insecurities?
yeah. We all
Come
do,
So it's
man.
on,
like,
bro.
but it's
Come
like I think
on.
it's things that we only really like put on women. Like, oh, she's gonna be a jealous type, or she's
Nah,
gonna be
it's
insecure, or
us
she
Like
gonna.
too.
we ain't jealous. Like we don't feel it.
We do the same thing. We just cover it differently. Like sometimes we be in the gym trying to lift because we don't want
Insecure,
to get no
yep.
dad bod, or we don't want to. Sometimes we be trying to flex and get this car because of
Yeah.
insecurities,
Uh,
whatever it might be. We just show insecurities and jealousies differently than women, but we still got the same stuff.
yeah, we go to the
Man, no,
club and get on the couch and throwing money. Same shit. The
Yeah,
same shit.
facts.
big facts.
I ain't throwing. I'm sorry. I
Sitting here
don't like
trying
throwing
to
money.
flex, trying to be somebody we not. It's the same shit, man. We trying to show off for what? Be who you are.
Yeah,
Man.
man. You gotta identify that in
Facts.
yourself.
That's a
Like,
message. Be who you are, bro.
Message.
mhm.
That- that's all you can do. Like even in a relationship, bro, you cannot be the other person. You can't do what they do. You got to do you because it's something about you that brought them to you in the first place. So be
Mm,
who you are, live straight, but just know that you ain't perfect. And there's always room for progression, growth, better yourself. And if both of y'all doing that, who's gonna stop y'all? God is wanting to see
yeah.
that. In my eyes, that's what I've always been grown to know. God wants to see you guys work together and do better and be better. So like build towards that. Stop being
So
scaredy
man,
and in your feelings and shit.
so we ain't gonna let y'all leave without some homework, right?
Ooh.
So this week, um, our call to action is going to be: I want you to write down what you appreciate about your partner for a week. All right, a solid week. Write down everything that you appreciate about them. Then leave a comment under the post on Instagram or YouTube, and let us know if it was helpful. I think just to put a little extra spice to it, after you write it down, type up a little post on Instagram and
So
Facebook
you
and
can
add them in it. So now you're
okay.
not just putting it down in your notes, you sharing it with the world that you appreciate these things with them. Guarantee it's gonna be what's that love language? Words of affirmation, or
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's
Words of
gonna give them a little
affirmation.
bit of public, display that you noticing these things about it and you telling the world. So if you want to get a little extra bonus point, also make a post about it. Just little things. It might be
You
what's
might
gonna
get a
encourage them to
bonus
keep
point in the
going.
bed too.
Or you will get a bonus point.
You might. Sometimes it don't work out like
I mean, it's gonna happen eventually. It might not be the same exact day, but
that.
it's gonna come through. All right.
Yeah.
So that's your first call to action: is get that post, that appreciation post for your partner, and tag us in that too. And then the second thing is we want you to focus on your ability to be transparent and not place the blame on others every day. So make sure that you're aware of where that blame is going, and once again, like the word we've been saying, vulnerable
Mm,
with people around you.
All right,
real
so
talk.
look, man. We want you to bridge the gap, with our women, our partners, gentlemen. Let's bridge this gap. It's not about what you do, but how you do it. Always. I'm gonna keep telling you that. It's always about what you do. It's not about what you do, but how you do it. As
Mm,
long as you understand that piece, even with your relationship, you can bridge that gap. Nobody cares about
mm.
what you do. It's only about how you do it, because how you made them feel, or the end
Make the
result of it,
connection.
makes more of the difference. But we gotta have you subscribe, follow, share, comment, like, post everything about this podcast on all platforms with your friends, sons, dads, fathers, cousins, uncles, nephews, whoever. Pass it along to everybody. We want this message to get around because our whole goal is to help gentlemen become better. That's the only way
Mm,
we can do it, is by spreading the message and informing each other. Not saying that we're the best thing since sliced bread, but we're trying to help resolve some of the issues that we having as men, as young black men too. So what I want you to do
thank
is
you.
tune in next episode as we will discuss purpose and vision, the roadmap for success. We're talking about purpose and vision, the roadmap for success next episode.
I
Right now,
like that.
I thank you all for listening to this conversation in the Black Gentlemen's Club, where we have candid conversations about challenges that black men face and how we overcome them. May God grant blessings and peace among you all. We out.
Yes, sir.